Hi, everyone, and welcome to the NCAA Softball Selection Special. Scott Reese joined by two-time Olympic gold medalist Stacey Nuveman. We will break down the field of 64. We'll get Stacey's insight and analysis along the way. A lot to get to, so let's dive in with the format of this year's tournament, which is slightly tweaked from what we saw a year ago. Two more automatic bids this year. UCLA, of course, the two-time defending champs. The Women's College World Series remains at its customary site, ASA Hall of Fame Stadium in Oklahoma City. Now, here's what's new about this year's tournament, sort of similar to what we've seen in the baseball tourney the last few years. 4 teams, 16 regional sites. The winners there advance to 8 super regional sites. Those teams then play best 2 out of 3, the final 8 advancing to the Women's College World Series. Michigan is your top seed. The Wolverines at 55-4. Offense, the name of the game in Ann Arbor. 89 home runs. 7 Division I teams have ever hit more in a season. Jessica Merchant with 19 of those dingers.
Well, the Wolverines carry their regular season #1 ranking into postseason after clinching the Big Ten regular season and tournament titles. Of course, Jessica Merchant, their shortstop, leads a potent Michigan offense and has a very strong, powerful lineup.
Wolverines get Canisius in the first game, and North Carolina and Seton Hall make up that foursome. Seton Hall back-to-back Big East tournament champs. And we now bring in Michigan coach Carol Hutchins. Coach, your thoughts on the #1 seed and all that comes with it?
Well, you know, I've never seen a ranking win anybody anything. I can tell you that. I'm proud of my team. We've had just a tremendous year. They've been consistent all year, and I don't think they've let that ranking get to them at all. They've just done a really nice job with it. The thing we need to do is just be focused on our opponent, focus on ourselves, and be ready to play our first game, which is Canisius.
Well, speaking of your opponents, talk a little bit about your corner of the bracket.
Well, you know, we saw Canisius last year in the in our regional, and they were our first game, and we were behind 1-0 in the 5th inning, and it was a great game, and we had to play well to win it, and we came from behind to win the game. So they're a quality opponent. I'm certain they are going to give us a great game, and we look forward to it.
Well, your squad's hit 89 home runs this year, up from 45 last season. What's been the difference in 2005?
Well, I think you just have to look at the kids in the lineup. They hit with a lot of confidence, and they swing with a purpose, and they swing through the ball well. And I think you just got to give a lot of credit to the kids.
And Coach, a lot of teams have one pitcher who shoulders almost 100% of the load, and you've got 2 studs in Laurelyn Wilson and Jenny Ritter. How does that benefit your club now heading into the postseason?
Well, there's no question that I think having 2 quality pitchers is hopefully going to be a plus for us. They both pitch. They've got very different styles, and they both can keep us in games. And pitching is, I don't care, you can talk about home runs all you want. The name of the game in softball is going to ultimately come down to pitching.
All right, Michigan coach Carol Hutchins, we appreciate your time with us. Best of luck in the upcoming tournament against Canisius on Friday and beyond. And thanks for your time on the Selection Special.
Thanks.
And we continue on with the NCAA Softball Selection Special. The next page of teams coming up includes Iowa and Nebraska. The Hawkeyes in out of the Big Ten. Creighton at 44-11 gets the 16-seeded Washington Huskies, and senior catcher Kristen Rivera, 19 home runs, has knocked in 51 runs on the season. Elsewhere, it's Northwestern getting the 9 seed. Garland Cooper, Big Ten Player of the Year. The Wildcats will take on Albany, the Great Danes in for the first time ever. Louisville and Notre Dame will round out this foursome to be played in South Bend, Indiana. The 8 seed Oregon State coming in at 40-14. This was an all-time year for the Beavers. Over 500 in the Pac-10 for the first time ever. Sophomore Brianne McGowan, 33-8, a .172 ERA. Stacey.
Well, they clinched their first Pac-10 title in program history, and they're looking for their first trip to the Women's College World Series. Sophomore Brianne McGowan, as you mentioned, has been their workhorse, and her ability to keep Oregon State in the game really will be paramount to their success. 7 straight tourney appearances for the Beavers. They get Wisconsin Green Bay in the first game, automatic out of the Horizon League. Top of this regional, DePaul and Wisconsin. The Blue Demons have won 4 straight conference titles, and that's in Conference USA. They will, of course, join the Big East next season. So that's 16 of the 64 teams down. Stacey, your thoughts on what we've seen so far? Well, I think really the big key right now is Texas A&M. We'll get to them a little bit later, but in that first bracket, you look at Michigan, obviously the #1 team in the country. The question will be, can their 2 pitchers really make a difference? We talked about Laurelyn Wilson and Jenny Ritter. truth be told, fast pitch softball, it comes down to the circle. Can their pitchers keep them in the game, and can their offense continue to click on all cylinders?
Well, you heard the coach talk about it. Pitching and defense win championships, but, an occasional home run certainly doesn't hurt the cause along the way. 16 down. Lots more to go, so we continue now with Texas A&M. The Aggies in as the 5 seed, chasing their 6th College World Series appearance. Amanda Scarborough, double threat, 408 average, 43 ribs, 26-1 as a pitcher, but she missed the conference tournament.
Well, Scarborough was suffered a head injury, got a line drive to the side of her head, missed the tournament, and actually her availability is still questionable. She leads the team not only in the circle, but also at the plate, batting average, home runs, all these kinds of things. So her absence, or I guess maybe lack of confidence and ability will definitely enhance or detract from their success.
See how that plays out. The Aggies get McNeese State in the opener on Friday. Centenary and Penn State round out this foursome to be played at College Station. In Tuscaloosa, Alabama, the 12th-seeded Crimson Tide, coming off its 2nd SEC tournament title in 3 years, gets Mississippi Valley at 34-29, the Devilettes out of the SWAC. Hofstra and Arizona State will also play in Tuscaloosa. The Sun Devils out of that very tough Pac-10, 17 tournament appearances all time for Arizona State. Moving on, in Gainesville, Florida, the 13th-seeded Gators under Karen Johns get Bethune-Cookman, the Lady Wildcats, in out of the MEAC. And South Florida and Central Florida will play a battle of the Sunshine States, the Golden Knights, automatic qualifiers from the Atlantic Sun Conference. Your number 4 seed will be Texas at 42-11. Kat Osterman, one of the top hurlers in the land, 24-6, 477 strikeouts, including 16 in the Big 12 title game.
Well, and Osterman returned to Austin after winning a gold medal with Team USA in the Athens Summer Games. And really, I think the key to Texas' success is the Longhorn offense providing ample run support for their pitching staff to go out and do business.
The rest of this foursome looks as such. These games Friday in Austin, Texas A&M, Corpus Christi. The Islanders checking out the show at Buffalo Wild Wings will be taking on Mississippi State out of the SEC, and Texas gets UMass. The Minute Women have won 13 straight. They come in very, very hot, also on the heels of their 17th league title in school history. Stacey, 16 more teams now, and we talked a bit about Texas A&M, but when your superstar is questionable for the postseason, it kind of makes this whole region tough to handicap.
Well, and they went into that Big 12 tournament and really struggled finding a way to get runs on the board. They got beat by a couple teams that they beat previous in the season, so I think her availability and also where she's going to be, she might be able to play, but will she be at 100%? Definitely not the same team without her in the lineups. The question will be, can the rest of the team step up and take care of business? Could
wind up with a Texas A&M Texas Super Regional, but a lot of softball to be played between now and then. We are halfway through the NCAA Selection Special, and of course, when we return, what about the 2-time defending champs? UCLA won it all in 2004. Where, oh where, will the Bruins be in 05? We're coming right back. Welcome back, everyone, to the NCAA Softball Selection Special here on ESPN News. Scott Reese and Stacey Nuveman. We are halfway through this year's field of 64, which means we still have some work to do. So let's dive in now with the number 3 seed in this year's tournament, Arizona. 18 Women's College World Series appearances, including 6 national titles, most recently in 2001. A couple of sophomores leading the offensive charge. Caitlin Lowe hitting .518, Christy Fox 63 RBI.
Well, and head coach Mike Candrea returns after leading the U.S. Olympic team to a gold medal in Athens this past summer. And the Wildcats, as you said, will look to not only Caitlin Lowe in the offense, but also pitcher Alicia Hollowell, a very good pitcher for them as well.
Friday in Tucson, it'll be Arizona and Lehigh. The Mountain Hawks, a new school record for wins this year with 41. Bottom half there, Princeton out of the Ivy League. Aaron Snyder, pitcher of the year in the conference, taking on Oklahoma State. The Cowgirls in for the 15th time. In Norman, Oklahoma, the 14th seeded Sooners and senior catcher Heather Scaglione, defensive player of the year, .391 batting average, 58 homers. She leads the Oklahoma club against Wichita State on Friday. We also have Oregon out of that very tough Pac-10 taking on Louisiana Lafayette at 50-8. The Ragin' Cajuns led by Danielle Gomez, second in the nation in RBI. The 11th seed will be the Tennessee Lady Vols. 53 or 59-13 on the season, 3 straight tourney appearances, and they get the automatic bid out of the SEC.
And the Lady Vols are led in the circle by sophomore hurler Monica Abbott, one of 10 finalists for the USA Softball Player of the Year award. Tennessee looks to advance to their first ever Women's College World Series.
Abbott 42-7 with a 0.54 ERA. Tennessee will take on Miami of Ohio. The Redhawks in for the first time. Also in Knoxville, the College of Charleston with 51 wins on the season, taking on Georgia Tech at large out of the ACC. In Columbia, Missouri, the Tigers will play host to Southern Illinois. The Salukis, senior Amy Harvey, MVC Pitcher of the Year, and Robert Morris making its first tournament appearance. Congrats to the Colonials. They get the Stanford Cardinal, who won a share of the Pac-10 title for the first time ever. Michelle Smith, 18 home runs for the 6th-seeded Cardinal of Stanford. Again, those games in Columbia, Missouri. And we saw that Norman regional there, a lot of offensive firepower, perhaps.
Well, I think that regional has the potential to definitely create some fireworks. Definitely with Oklahoma and their abilities, they have Women's College World Series experience. But I think that we got to pay attention to ULL, Louisiana Lafayette, a team that's got senior pitcher Brooke Mitchell in the circle. They've got an explosive offense. You mentioned Danielle Gomez. I think that could be a very interesting regional and could definitely create some surprise wins.
A bit of a dark horse there. We'll talk more about that in the coming minutes here on the Selection Special. But more teams to reveal. And what about those 2-time defending champs? Here they are. UCLA, the 7 seed at 30-16. They have won 10 titles, 21 trips to the Women's College World Series. The Bruins are perennial.
Well, UCLA freshman pitcher Angelica Selden will try and fill the shoes left by Women's College World Series star Kira Garrell, who graduated last year after leading the Bruins to back-to-back titles. So I think if UCLA brings their A game, they definitely have a chance to make another run.
Always do. An LA-centric region with the Bruins hosting Loyola Marymount on Friday. Cal State Fullerton, 21 tournament appearances for the Titans. They ride a 9-game winning streak into the postseason. They get UNLV. The Runnin' Rebs have also been hot, winning 8 of their last 9. In Athens, Georgia, the 10th-seeded Bulldogs and senior Kim Wendland, the first player in Georgia softball history to earn SEC Player of the Year honors. They get Tennessee Tech, second tournament appearance for the Eaglettes at 35-26. Virginia Tech will play Kansas, the 9th tournament appearance for the Jayhawks at large out of the Big 12. Again, those games in Athens, Georgia. More Friday action. Auburn, Alabama, the host site for Auburn and Florida State. That's 18 tournament appearances now for the Seminoles out of the ACC. And Baylor, the 15 seed, taking on Florida A&M. The Baylor Bears, Chelsea Lake, 61 RBI, 15 home runs to lead the offensive charge. The 2 seed is California. The Berkeley Bears, 5 of the top 8 seeds out of the Pac-10. It's quite a conference. The Bears won it all in 2002. They lost the title game the last 2 years to UCLA.
Well, head coach Diane Ninemeyer got her 800th career victory on Thursday in a big win over Arizona. The Bears are experienced at every position and have all the tools to get back to Oklahoma City.
Now, of note here, Cal will not host this regional. It is in Fresno, as Fresno State and Long Beach State will go at it on Thursday. This the only one of the 16 first-round sites where games will be played beginning on Thursday, and that is to accommodate BYU as the Cougars out of the Mountain West get in for the second time. And again, I mentioned Fresno State. By the way, Fresno State, the only team to be selected to every single NCAA softball championship, all 24. And the final quadrant here, it seems to be a lot of stiff competition when you deal with those California teams at the bottom of the bracket.
Well, I think they saved the best for last, because to me, this bracket is easily the most competitive. With Cal Berkeley, we know they've been in the championship game 3 out of the last 4 years. Have not been able to finish the deal, however, and I think going into play Fresno State in Fresno is going to be a very tough challenge. Fresno is a very loud and rowdy place to play ball. They've got Jamie Southern in the circle, another Player of the Year finalist, rather. I think that's going to be a very explosive regional and could definitely determine maybe ultimately the champion of the whole series.
So there you have the 64 teams, but we're not done here. We'll get some general thoughts on the brackets, Stacey's thoughts on who will win the whole darn thing. Maybe get that crystal ball, we'll dust it off, get some predictions as the softball selection special continues here on ESPN News. We are coming right back. Well, there is the trophy, and 64 teams now have their eyes on the prize as the NCAA softball selection special continues here on ESPN News. Scott Reese and Stacey Nuveman. All right, Stacey, we've seen the field now, 64 teams. Give me your thoughts on the brackets and the seedings as a whole.
Well, I think this year is going to be interesting to see how the new format really can impact the teams that are going to maybe get to the World Series, actually get through the regionals first and foremost, I guess, and then get to the World Series. I think that two-pitcher combination, the teams that possess that, the Michigans, the Cal Berkeleys, those are the teams that are going to have an edge because they have one pitcher. If she struggles a little bit, they've got a quality number 2 that can come in and get some good innings, and I think that's going to be really key. We're going to see pitching play a big role this year, maybe more so in some years past.
8 teams each from the Pac-10 and the Big 12. Do teams out of those power conferences have an advantage heading into a tournament like this because of the stiff competition?
Well, if you're in one of those conferences that really does stack up nationally year in and year out, definitely the challenge is to take that momentum you've built. You may have lost some games in conference play, but you've played national championship teams week in and week out. So I think that does give you an edge. The teams maybe that cruise through their conference seasons will have a little more of a tough time turning it up and kicking it up a notch, when the postseason starts.
And this is the time to kick it up a notch. Let's talk about some dark horses. You mentioned Louisiana Lafayette earlier. Anybody else out there maybe not getting a seeding, maybe having to go on the road and play a game or two? You think, they could make some noise in this tournament?
I actually think the University of Washington is a team that I really think has some potential to do some damage. They've got a very explosive offense. Catcher Kristen Rivera leads the nation in several offensive categories. They have some experienced pitching. The question is, can they put it all together in the end? It's a Pac-10 team, so you might question if they can be considered a dark horse, but they're at 16 seeds, so I think that's a team that could surprise somebody and put up some big wins.
And a possible matchup with number 1 seeded Michigan down the road, but again, a lot has to happen before then. And now we put you on the spot. Give us, you don't have to give me all 8 teams, but who do you like getting through to the College World Series, and ultimately, who takes home the prize?
Well, I think when you look at some of the seeds, Michigan, number 1 seed, I think the question is, can they recover? They've struggled in the World Series. They have not won a game in the Women's College World Series in their history. So the question again will be, can they get through that and put that all behind them and just focus on this season? They've been playing great ball, so I think I like to see them continue their momentum from the regular season now into the postseason. As far as Texas A&M, the Amanda Scarborough situation, that's a big question mark. Other than that, if that hadn't happened, I'd say they were in for sure. Kat Osterman in Texas. I think some of the quote-unquote usuals maybe will struggle a little bit. UCLA has played some good softball this year. They've also played some really bad softball. So if they, as I said, if they bring their A game, they got a great potential, and really the same thing for Arizona. Putting up that run production is huge. Give Alicia Hollowell some support in the circle. I think it could be a very interesting year, and again, those bracket layout really could change, mix it up a little bit.
So do I take from all this that you're picking Michigan to win the title?
I'm going to go with Michigan. I'm going to go out on a limb, and I'm going to say Michigan. I think, again, they've got all the tools, and they're hungry. They played great softball, probably the most consistent of any team in the country. They just got to get it done now and for the next 2 weeks.
It's a short limb you're out on.
Very short limb. It's tough. It's always a competitive field, and I think this year no different. And again, the way that the new layout is, it's going to put some pressure on teams because you can't just peak in 2 weekends. You got to peak 3 weekends.
Well, they're not the top seed for nothing, and we'll see how it all plays out. Stacey Nuveman, we appreciate your time and want to let the folks at home know about the coverage of the NCAA Softball Championship. It begins with the Super Regionals, 9 games in 2 days, May 27th and 28th on ESPN, ESPN2, ESPNU. When we get to Oklahoma City, every game in the World Series televised live and in high definition. That would be spectacular high def on ESPN and ESPN2. Top stories coming up here on ESPN News. Dave Holmes and Robert Flores have rejoined us, and they'll show you what Danica Patrick did today on the track. Stay with us.